Hey, everybody. This is going to be a unique post. And for those of you who follow Progress Coaching and follow me, and certainly I have a newsletter on LinkedIn, have a pretty large following on LinkedIn. I'm always talking about coaching. But one of the things that we've gotten into the last couple of years has been something called approachability and coachability. When I think about the workplace today and how change is coming at us fast, and I think AI is behind a lot of it, it's going to prompt people to look at their work differently. They don't have a choice. Nobody really likes change. And yet, we're so steadfast on resistance. So I always think about, something like this, this thing called the cell phone, right? How many of you are using rotary dials or dialers? You're not, right? Now that's a rough example, but think about that. If we're not going to change, we would be stuck. You would be stuck in your career. Most of the time, employees don't think about that. And I think about approachability, coachability. And I think about some of the things that we need to do to make it easier for leaders. Leaders have it tough today. It's been interesting since the pandemic, something occurred. Coaching skyrocketed, the need for coaching skyrocketed. Yet leaders have more and more on their plate. And so what's been difficult is how do we help them? Well, 70 to 80% of our organizations are made up of individual contributors, employees. If they were more approachable and coachable, and only 19 to 21% in the United States, according to Gallup, are actively engaged at work. The rest are neutral, just doing their job, or disengaged, meaning they're negative. Think of a leader with 10 people. 8 out of 10 are neutral or negative. Not a fun proposition. So how do we combat that? A lot of times when we work out, we don't want to work out. We're tired, we're sore, we're fatigued. I had a long day, and it's called discipline. Most of the time when people drive into work, what do? They listen to the music or they listen to the news, which is not really inspirational. So what happens is the way we fuel our mind, the way we treat our bodies creates the output. Are we in better shape? Are we in worse shape? Are we thinking more positively? Are we thinking negatively? And you take an employee who's negative, and I want to share with you a very quick story. And I put some statistics below here that I did a Google search on, and it's interesting to me. When I think about positivity and negativity, it is a mindset and something we practice. If you have that friend, and I bet you every one of you do, who says, yeah, but before you even get to the end of your sentence, that's a conditioned response. They're practicing negativity. They're practicing resistance. They're pushing back because they're well skilled at it. So myself or you showing up magically and coaching them is not going to change things instantaneously. It's going to take time. So one of the things that you can do, and we're about to launch a service called Progress 360, where we send motivational messages and lessons to employees to get them thinking about feedback, seeking it, and just saying thank you, and doing a random act of kindness for somebody else on the team, and really prompting people through the fueling of their mind of positivity to think more positively on a day-to-day basis. So I'm working with two guys in financial services, very negative, very talented leaders, or both are individual contributors to a leader that I know pretty well. And after about 4 months, the leader calls me and goes, it's amazing. They're doing it. So what do you mean? He goes, they're more helpful and they don't even know what's happening. And both guys actually said, the lessons are okay, but it doesn't really make a big difference. They're still demonstrating resistance. Yet the leader says, I am counting more times than ever that they're more helpful to their teammates than they've ever been. I've even had comments from other teammates. So the two people who are still demonstrating resistance while we send them these weekly motivational messages and suggested actions they can take are actually becoming more positive, and they don't know it, but they still have their triggered reaction of resistance. So think about, if you're a leader or if you're an individual contributor, how do you fuel your mind? Les Brown is one of my favorite motivational speakers. If you want to see some great speeches, look at Denzel Washington's. So the point being, fuel your mind. That embraces everything that comes your way. Change, challenge, I got to learn AI, whatever it might be. At the foundation is the way we think. What are your thoughts?